Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to talk about relationships. How we can build better relationships, how to diagnose if something is not working in our relationships, and how to use EFT tapping in order to heal your inner relationships with ourselves and the relationships with others without losing ourselves in the process. Sometimes it's really easy to love somebody and forget all about yourself, your needs, your desires, your emotions, and give everything to the other person. And that's not healthy. So today I'm going to show you how you can keep yourself in a healthy relationship. And I hope this will help you with your current relationships now and with your future relationships. So let's get started. My name is Gergana Radovich and I'm holistic health coach, sleep expert, EFT trainer, and master T-Tapp trainer. And relationships is one of my probably most favorite topics because it's a process where you improve not only yourself, but you improve your relationships, your extensions to other persons, the connections you have with other people in your life. It might be your spouse, it might be your kids, it might be your friends, it might be your colleagues, or everybody around you with closer or distant relationship, with whom you have more closer, intimate, or more distant relationship. And when we are talking about relationships, it's, I don't know about you, the place where you live in the world and the culture you live in the world, the culture that you came from. But in our Bulgarian culture, it's really important for us to have close relationships with our family, with our parents or our grandparents. And well, this is changing, of course, but sometimes it's hard to keep that close relationships, these close connections, and at the same time to grow your own inner strength, your own boundaries, your own boldness, if you like, to explore, learn, and enjoy life. And good morning to everybody who's here. Hi, Stasi. It's so nice to see you today. And thank you for coming in today for this video. Again, thank you for all of you who are watching right now. I hope this topic is interesting. And if you have questions, please let me know, discuss in the comments so I can make this video really appropriate for your current exact situation. And when we're talking about relationships and how we connect with others, it's really important to ask yourself, how am I connecting to my inner self? How am I connecting to what my body, mind, spirit need? Because if I'm not nurturing these inner relationships and I'm not loving myself enough, taking care of myself, taking good care of myself, sleeping well, eating well, meditating if you wish, having enough rest, and so on and so on. And if I'm not aware of all these things, I cannot build a healthy relationship with others. And by healthy relationship, I mean peace with, well, it's not just peace, but it's a bouquet of emotions, love, admire, being happy in the other person. Let's talk about, say, your spouse. It's easier to give a concrete example, but for me, a healthy relationship steps or builds on trust, love, peace, acceptance, understanding, willingness to accept the person as he or she is and live with that. And when we're talking about healthy relationships, we must talk about boundaries, and we must talk about building certain boundaries, accepting boundaries of others, and learning how to give the choice to others to have their own boundaries. Here, I'm talking mostly about kids and spouses. Many people believe that, well, it's true to some extent, but still, many people believe that kids shouldn't have any boundaries, or if I'm a parent, I have all the rights around my kids. And this is not an easy question. Here, I'm not going to discuss this, I'm just mentioning. And unfortunately, many things, many people believe so, even when the kids are no longer kids, when they're grown people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and even later in life. And by refusing to respect other boundaries, you're trying to force those people, to learn to live a life that's not theirs, but mostly yours. And again, we cannot, and in doing so, you feel happy when they do what you want them to do, and you feel unhappy when they don't follow your advice. So this is more or less the same with intimate relationship with a spouse, with your husband or your life. And what happens there is that if you do so and so, I will love you. If you don't do so and so, I'll be very upset. And again, we are in such situations, we are kind of giving our strength to others. This is one of the things that we are doing actually, but we are kind of letting others rule our own happiness. And I believe that even in a healthy relationship, and that's why it's healthy actually, every single individual, well, in a couple, both individuals need their own sacred space, need their own inside happiness, inside boundaries, and outside boundaries to some extent, in order to build and have this healthy and happy relationship with each other. And again, when a couple is living that way, it teaches, parents are influencing their kids to learn this way of life, this way of living as well, which is at the end the most important thing that we can give to our kids, to teach them how to live independent yet connected to others' life, and to build these kind of relationships with the important people in their own lives. And on my opinion, from what I've seen from clients, a lot of problems arise from the basic misunderstanding of this, that if the other person, sometimes it's hard to put everything in in words, but the basic understanding that I have to agree to everything he says in a couple, let's say, it's probably the more often what's happening more often. Actually, the woman is submissive and she agrees with everything the man says. Of course, vice versa is also evident, is happening, but still, I think this is especially where we live in Bulgaria and in probably southern parts of Europe as well, that the woman must accept, or, well, it's not must accept. We've learned to be more submissive, we've learned to agree more to what others say, and etc., etc. And of course, it's not 100% true, but it's more evident. And here I'm not talking about women rights. It's a very deep topic, of course it is, but I'm not talking about it right now. I'm just sharing my observation that in a couple, the woman tends to agree more with whatever is happening there. And to some extent, it's woven in our woman's nature, our female, probably, nature. And this has its own merit to some extent, but if we agree to every single thing that others want to us, including our kids, our parents, our husbands, and to some extent our friend and social social relationships, we are losing a great chance to be happy as we are in this current body, in this current spirit, in this current situation. And on the other hand, there are women, or men, doesn't really matter, but there are people who get angry, who get upset, who get not so happy when the opposite side is not agreeing to their rules, or, well, even maybe not rules, but their opinions. And it doesn't really matter if you are a man or a woman, because you can internalize this really, really deep and feel really unhappy about that. Think about what you needed your husband or kid or friend or spouse or whatever do, and if they didn't do it, you felt upset, you felt angry, and probably somewhere there the line came the thought, well, they don't love me enough, or I don't deserve to be loved, or I deserved what happened because I'm so and so. I'm not educated, I'm fat, I'm introvert, whatever. And when these thoughts appear, it's a signal that something is not okay. And most probably, this something is the inner value we put to ourselves as a person, not as a woman, as a person. And here is where tapping can be really great as a tool in order to help us to help you, every single person, doesn't really matter again, women or men, to heal this inner relationship with him or herself, to improve in a way her own opinion about herself and her abilities, and ultimately to build inner strength, inner value, inner peace, and to trust in herself or himself. But let's talk about woman. It's more common for women, so that's why I'm talking about her. And I remember when I started tapping 10 years ago, probably, I was a very different person than I'm right now. And most of my work was related with I worked with myself about different things, but it's not entirely correct. Actually, most of my own work was about feeling unhappy or angry or other negative emotion because what others had done to me. And it sounds really terrible, but actually what I'm trying to explain is very simple. I changed myself and my relationships. I could change them one step at a time because I worked on what I didn't like in myself and in relationships with others. It was either guilt, being angry, being sad, feeling not good enough, feeling again mad at something that happened or a person, and so on and so on. And along the way, it's a very simple process actually, but you have to do it day by day by day, every single day. And again, 10 years later, I can say, well, I'm probably very different person from the angry person I was back then. And I feel good in my own skin right now. And I don't really care so much what others might think, might say, might like to judge, or something else. It's their own story. And that's what I suggest every one of us should do if they want to create an outstanding relationships with important people in their lives, with their spouse, kids, parents, brothers, sisters, and so on. And it's really never late to start doing that. If you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't really matter because there is always a what you can do in order to improve your connections with others, your parents included. And let me show you a really simple yet powerful tapping sequence that you can use daily to build those relationships. And something before that I forgot to say, when you build your trust in your abilities, when you build your confidence, when you build your inner strength, you can decide who enters, who stays, and who leaves your life. And to that, it's important to mention that we are responsible of people who we keep around us, and we are responsible for our relationships with all of the important people in our life. Yes, we don't choose our parents to some extent, but in this life we don't choose our parents, but we choose how to communicate with them. To some extent, we don't choose our kids, but still we choose how to communicate with them. And we choose our partners. And if we don't, it's entirely another story that we need to talk about. So I'm saying this because I would like you to remember that it doesn't really matter what happens. To some great extent, you have final say to one, or to some great extent. Well, maybe not every time, but you should be an active participant in your own life. You should be able to decide whether you stay in a relationship or leave a relationship or choose another relationship. And if you refuse to do that, well, you need to probably work on this issue. And again, let's go back to our little tapping sequence. We are starting at the end, at the side of the hand. And let's talk about, I'll show you how to use tapping in order to get rid of something that really bothers you in your current relationship. For example, your spouse does something that really irritates you. And I'll show how to use tapping to kind of dissolve this issue. So let's start at the side of the hand. Doesn't really matter which hand, pick one and start tapping. And say out loud or in your mind, even though this person, he or she, doesn't matter, does this that makes me really, that irritates me really hard, I'm a good person. Even though she or he does this thing that really bothers me, I'm a good person. And I choose to laugh and accept myself. And one more time, even though when he or she does that, I'm really bothered or irritated, I choose to laugh and accept myself. Top of the head. The thing that she or he does really bothers me. Eyebrow. I hate when she does, or he does that. Side of the eye. It's really hard for me to accept this. Under the eye. It really bothers me. Under the nose. This thing that he does. On the chin. I hate when he does that. Collarbone. I don't like when he does so and so. Under the arm. It makes me feel angry or sad or emotional in some way. Pick the emotion and try to dive into that emotion. Thumb. It bothers me. Notice your emotion. It makes me feel sad, angry, irritated, jealous. It doesn't really matter what the emotion is. Think about it and tap with me. I really hate when he does so. I don't like it. I wish he could change his behavior. back on the top of the head, tap and think about this thing. It might be something not so important that you put a great stress on that thing. Or it might be something really important. And here, I'm not going to say you just continue tapping. I'm not going to say you need to do this or that. It depends on the situation. But if the thing is really not that important, tapping will help you resolve your inner negative emotions about that. Because most of the things that we get angry about are not that important. I'm talking about leaving dishes in the sink, leaving clothes in the bathroom, not in the washing machine, and so on and so on. But we tend to think about those situations and again and again and again, and feel even angrier about that, or even sadder about that. And then there are the arguments we have with our spouses, and instead of resolving them with talking, every part goes to her or his own corners, figuratively speaking, and we tend to, we women mostly tend to keep this inner these arguments inside us, and think and think and think up until something explodes. And the thing that I'm showing you right now, tapping, will help you release these emotions. If you are angry, if you are sad, if you are jealous, if you are ashamed, if you are whatever you feel, whatever emotion you might feel, tapping on the points for a couple of minutes can help you resolve this emotion. And because I did a lot of talking here, let's do one more round for one particular emotion. You can pick yours. I'm going to use, I'm sad. I'm sad about what he did. It made me feel sad. Put your emotion here, what you feel. This emotion. I don't feel good about what he did or about what he said. I don't feel good about that. I feel it in my, pick the part of the body where you feel it. Let's say I feel it in my chest, under the arm, and it stops me from breathing easily. This emotion in my chest, this heaviness in my chest, this constriction in my chest, this overall sadness from what he did. I don't feel so good about that. But final round. But maybe there is a way to release the emotion and move forward. And I'm open to this right now. I'm open to releasing the emotion and letting it go. I'm open to finding better ways to build our relationship other than quarrels and accusing each other. I choose to release the sadness, the anger, the negative emotion. Think about that negative emotion. I choose to let it go. I choose to breathe deeply and peacefully. I choose to find better ways to communicate with him or with her, and find a better way to be with our relationship. I choose to feel calm and strong in my and to believe in my own abilities. So inhale, exhale. Again, inhale, exhale, and let me know in the comments how you feel. Type yes, I feel good, better, or no, I don't feel better. There is no difference from the beginning of our tapping, and that's fine. The only thing that you need to really know and do is to find the emotions, find the how to say, the obstacles that prevent you from living your happy life, and tap on them one at a time. It might be we had this quarrel and my spouse told me so and so, said me so and so. Or it might be I'm not in a relationship right now and I don't believe I'll find the right one for me. Or it might be I feel neglected even though I'm in a relationship, or something else. And again, there are many different topics that you can tap on. You can do it alone, but if you want to get faster to your goal, if you want to heal faster your relationship, or to build faster your inner strength, or to resolve issues that you haven't been able to resolve for years, you can call me, of course, and we can work on this together. Sometimes we can work on some things, on different topics alone, but sometimes we can't do that alone. And in such situations, it's always good to have somebody to work with. And if that's your case, don't hesitate, reach me at my website nfc.bg or nfc.com, and send me a message. Say, well, I need your help, let's talk, and I'll come back to you. I hope this video was good. I mean, I like my words after tapping it. Sometimes it happens, but I hope you like this video. And if you are interested in the topic, let me know. I will do more videos around this topic in the future. Until then, use the short tapping sequence that I showed you, or reach out to me and say, well, I need help, please help me, and I'll go back to you. And again, I'm Gergana Radovich. I was very happy to be with you today. Take care. Bye.